Hello, I'm Elaine Chew. I'm standing inside Ear Camp, which was the site of ISMIR 2002, also my very first ISMIR meeting. At that time, Michael Fingerhut, also known as Michel Fingerhut in French, had reached out to research groups worldwide to invite us to attend ISMIR. ISMIR has been the source of many professional and personal friendships. Some of you may not remember this, but in the background, what you're hearing is an early ISMIR anthem. You get a prize if you can name that song. Happy 20th birthday, ISMIR.
Hi, I'm Mark Sandler from Queen Mary University of London, and I was asked to give a short video of the memories I have of the early days of ISMIR. So the first thing is that I was at the first ISMIR, and one of the strong memories of who I went with in my team, and that was, one of them was Juan Pablo Bello, who I think most of you will know, who's now at NYU. He was a PhD student working on piano transcription, and another PhD student also working on a different way of doing piano transcription was Giuliano Monti, who I'm afraid we kind of lost contact with a bit. And both of them were in the OMRAS project, and I'll come back to that in a minute. The third person from King's in my team was a young intern student from the States called Daniel Bendor, and he was looking at vibrato. And since then, Daniel has kind of changed from music IR. He's now doing neuroscience, and he's at the Gatsby Centre at University College London. So the OMRAS project also involved Tim Crawford. Tim was the UK lead, and he invited me in to the project for my audio signal processing skills. And yeah, maybe people should talk to me and Tim, or if Tim's there, about OMRAS and what it did. Of course, one of the other things was our US PhD student was Jeremy Pickens, who I'm really pleased to say is doing a keynote this year, and it will be great to see him. So I won't go into the details of the project. You can read that up, and maybe you should, because it's a really interesting project. But OMRAS also basically gave birth, or helped to give birth, to the ISMIR project. And Don Bird, who was the US lead on OMRAS, will tell the full story of that if he's around, or maybe in this video. So that was the people. That was about the people I was with and the contribution to ISMIR. Two memories from that very first ISMIR at Plymouth. One is Marvin Minsky giving the keynote or the after dinner talk, whatever it was. I hope it was there, because I remember him doing it at one of the early ISMIRs. And the other one, which definitely happened in Plymouth, was me waking up really early one morning, driving off to a Dunkin' Donuts, getting a takeaway coffee and donut, and sitting watching the sunrise, looking, which way would it be? Looking eastward across the ocean, and wondering about those early settlers and so on. So a kind of historical moment there for me. The other strong memory from the early ISMIRs was running it in London. And again, that was me and Tim, co-chairs, but I think we both did far less work on it than Juan Bello, who by that time was a postdoc. And Juan did a great job of running ISMIR 2005. I think we saw a leap in the number of attendees and a whole new initiative that he brought in. And for me, the most important one was the concert, which we held in a professional club with professional musicians and a guy called Soweto Kinch, who's a sort of rapping jazz saxophonist. And it was a brilliant concert, certainly the best I'd been to associated with a conference up till then. So I've got other memories. If you see me, when you see me in Delft, just have a chat to me, and I'll try and share some of them with you. And of course, the one thing to do is enjoy yourself in Delft. Bye for now.
I'm Geoffroy Peeters from Telecom Paris, previously at IRCAM. Happy 20th anniversary birthday, ISMIR. So I remember my very first ISMIR was in 2002 in Paris at IRCAM, and I was invited to give a tutorial with Gérard Assayag on digital music representation. And I spent all my talk talking about how great MPEG-7 audio is, how it will be the future. And the fact is that today nobody knows what is MPEG-7 audio. Then I had a talk on music audio summarization, and I chosen to illustrate it by playing Wannabe from the Spice Girls. And I found that so cool to be able to play the Spice Girls, because at IRCAM, which is a contemporary music institution, such music is not really welcome. So I thought it was so cool, such a great community. And the fact is that I've been to almost all conferences since then because it's so great. So happy birthday, ISMIR.
The idea to organize a yearly ISMIR symposium, that's what the S initially stood for, emerged in late 1999 from one project, OMRAS, and two workshops in larger conferences, SIG-IR and Digital Resources for Humanities, which I had attended, under the separate and later combined impetus of Tim Crawford, Don Bird, Stephen Downie, David Uren, Craig, Neville Manning, and Carla Boone. At the first ISMIR symposium, Plymouth 2000, with 88 attendees, I offered to create and host the Music IR mailing list for anyone interested in that domain. Later that year, I was invited to join the ISMIR steering committee and offered to host the 2002 symposium in Paris. At the ISMIR 2001 symposium, Bloomington, 95 attendees and 220 subscribers to the list, it was decided to replace the term symposium with conference, some attendees having suggested it would be easier for them to get funding for attendance, but keep the ISMIR acronym rather than move to ICMIR. It was a good decision, as that last acronym means International Commission on Marriage and Interpersonal Relations. ISMIR 2002 took part in Paris, France, with 188 attendees, 512 Music IR subscribers. In addition to sending the call for papers on the Music IR list and some Usenet groups, I searched the web so as to find potential new attendees who hadn't heard of ISMIR yet. This is how Elaine Chew joined us, coming then with 5 of her students. Other people joined too. As the conference organizer, I had taken upon myself to enrich the structure of the conference by adding tutorials and panels, a special keynote session on metadata, and 2 professional visits, thereby making it almost twice as long than the first 2-day-long symposium. The proceedings were printed well before the conference, attributed an official ISBN, distributed to the attendees and to several libraries. Last, I acquired the ISMIR.net domain, included in it the websites of the first 2 symposia, as well as this conference as subdomains, and this is where all future conferences would have to create their website. This allowed for their preservation, they're still online, and the creation of a unified online collection of all past and future ISMIR publications and proceedings. The conference ended with a gala dinner on board a boat gliding on the Seine at night.
Fun fact, the S in ISMIR stands for spiffy.